What's up, guys? Tanner back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a little unboxing of what I think is the ultimate survival watch, you could call it, or just, in my opinion, just kind of an outdoor watch that is geared towards survival specifically because of a few different reasons, which I'll get into this. But let's go ahead and crack this box open, which I've been dying to do, but I figured I would save it for the video just because why not? Even though it has been kind of challenging because I got this a little while ago and I've been wanting to open it. So first of all, let me get this paper crap out of the way. So first of all, it is a Citizen watch. And the reason I love Citizen watches are simply because they never need a battery. So they're solar watches, but this one in particular and most of their watches are solar powered, but they don't have a battery. The solar power just charges the watch directly. I don't understand how the technology works truly, but all I know is that they never require a battery and they could last a lifetime. So it's pretty extraordinary to me because this watch, it was definitely a large purchase for me, but I think it's one of those things that will be worth in the long run because it should last forever, like I said. So I had a a $25 watch from Amazon. That was one of those Iron Man Timex watches, and I loved it. I loved it to death, actually, and I had it for about 5 years. And I think it's $50 nowadays, but I had it for 5 years and it was a great watch, but it just broke on me. So I figured, you know what? I've wanted one of these watches for about 5 or 6 years now, and I decided to finally make the switch. So let's go ahead and get this open so you guys don't have to just look at this box. The one nice thing about this is it does come in this fancy little Pelican case, which I will probably never use this, but it's cool, I guess. All right, it's waterproof though, which is nice. So I actually think that that is pretty useful. So maybe I'll use it more than I think. So anyways, that is the presentation, which as you can tell, and actually that looks a lot better to me just looking at it from a glance like this. But real quick, if you guys can see this, let's go ahead and take this thing out of the case because it doesn't belong in there. So if you can tell, there's a bezel on here. Hold on, maybe. Isn't there? Oh, that's funny. The bezel doesn't spin. I thought the bezel spun, but it's actually that spins the bezel, which is actually a compass. So it has compass bearings or compass degrees from 0 to 360. So it's not 100% necessary for a watch, but I thought that was a really cool feature. And there's about 4 or 5 features on this watch that I think makes this the best ultimate survival watch. And I'll go ahead and get started with the feature number 1. And that is, like I said, the solar powered charger. So this never requires a battery. It can last forever. It's obviously very durable, and you don't want to be worrying about a battery when you're out there in the wilderness, and you don't want to watch to die on you because there's a lot of things you actually rely on your watch for. So it's a very useful tool, and there's a lot of things for it. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 why I think it's the best kind of survival watch of today's day and age is simply because it has an alarm feature. So an audible alarm feature, and I think that's a big deal, and it might not be important to everybody, but the reason I think that an alarm feature is so important is because I've spent extended periods of time in the wilderness before, and keeping your phone charged is pretty significant, and it's very important to keep your phone charged. So one thing that having an audible alarm on here does, it allows me to turn my phone off during the day or at night when I'm going to bed, and I can set my alarm on this rather than having it on my phone. So I don't have to waste the battery for my phone, because that phone is not just a cell phone for pictures and videos or whatever. It's also a emergency communication device now, because I don't know if your phone has it, but my phone specifically has the satellite text messaging feature for SOS. So it is an emergency device, and it's not something I want to waste in terms of the battery power. So that is a really important feature in my opinion, and I think it's a little underrated. But so that is reason number 2, I think. Reason number 3 is simply the compass bezel. So I can use this as a makeshift compass very easily. There's other ways to do it, and this is just a simple way. Yeah, the 360 degrees around the edge makes it easier to do in the field. You can do it with any analog or any analog watch, but I just think it's a very beneficial little cool trait to have around the watch. And other watches have dive functions and all that around the bezel, but this is just, in my opinion, more important. So now moving on to the next thing is it has a digital part of the watch as well. The reason I think that's really important is simply because at nighttime in the evening, These hands, I don't care what anybody says, if you just had a headlamp in your face or you cannot read those hands no matter how illuminated they are. Sorry, my cat's getting in the way. No matter how illuminated they are. So there's a feature, and I'm not even sure how to do this yet because I just got the watch, but I know you can light up this little box here that says, right now it says 4:50, and you can light that box up and actually read and tell the time. So in my opinion, that is underrated and very important because time is important when you're out in the field. I find it very necessary. I glance at this watch all the time and I use it for everything, whether it's just from boiling water or checking a fire or whatever, or checking traps. Like, you use your time for a lot of different things. And I think that this watch just has the overall ruggedness that a survival watch needs, but it also has the most important features. And just so you guys know, I know some of you guys might be on the train of Garmin watch for a survival watch, but I have used a Garmin watch for many years, and I found that just the battery life, even though mine lasted for a couple weeks on one charge, I just found that because of the battery life, I just couldn't rank it, in my opinion, as the highest, because this is something that literally could last indefinitely out in the field. So I think there's something to be said about that. And anyways, thank you guys very much. I'm going to get off camera and play with this thing a little bit because I'm too excited to keep talking about it. I want to get it on my wrist and play with some of the features. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. So Tanner, out. Holy shit. That's a good look at my watch.